Hello, internet friends. Welcome back once again. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you haven't been keeping up with the live streams recently, it's been a while since we've talked. And there's some reasons for that. And I think that this video and the topic that I'm going to discuss and the workout footage you guys are going to be watching actually ties into some of that reasoning. So a little bit of housekeeping first, I guess. One of the reasons I haven't been producing these videos is because I had been running out of memory space on my laptop. Out of about 900 something gigs of memory, I had maybe 15 left to be able to use. And so I wasn't being able to pull the video files off of my cameras from my workouts, and I needed to find a way to clear up space. And so every time I would try to run a program cleaning software to get rid of all the temporary save files and a whole bunch of video footage that just old files that I don't need anymore. Whenever I would try to run that, it became this huge daunting task. And eventually I just settled down and said, I just need to let my computer do this and however long it takes. And it ended up taking about 3.5 days because I had so much just junk stuck on my computer. And really what that kind of ties into is this idea that sometimes the size of a task and just anticipating doing something that's going to be time consuming, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to throw off your groove, it's going to throw off your rhythm, that kind of a thing can actually dissuade you from even starting in the first place. And so it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. And that's kind of one of the feelings that I have when I do this particular workout. The footage you're watching is actually from last night, and it's from what I would probably call my least favorite training session of the training week currently. That in the last block that belonged to any time I had to do conventional deadlifts, but for this particular block it's definitely 5 sets of 8 on squat and then a 6x6 on bench. And one of the things that I keep running into the problem of is none of these ever feel good. None of these sets feel good, and I keep getting stuck in kind of the mental loop where I think it's a problem that we can really run into a lot when we have a string of really positive things happening in our lives. When things are going well, when you're feeling like you're making progress and everything's going great, you kind of lose touch with this lesson that I've talked about before and that I've had to center myself in before. It's a lesson that you can easily forget and have to come back to, and that's that growth and doing things that are going to cause growth are inherently uncomfortable. You're going to go through discomfort. You're going to go through some sort of of just pain, or it's going to throw you off of what your expectations are. Because in order to give yourself enough of a stimulus, enough to cause adaptation to occur, you have to reach a little bit past your comfort level. That means you have to sit in the discomfort. And the problem I ran into with my computer, the problem that I've run into with this specific workout day, and the problem that I've run into with a lot of aspects of my life is that when you're feeling good about things, you don't want to take a step back and settle back into that discomfort, because that's where the growth comes. But ultimately, that's the lesson you have to keep reminding yourself of. Every time I walked back up to the bar for these sets, the weight's not crazy. None of the individual reps are inherently difficult in terms of if I was to approach them one at a time, it's not so much that any of the reps themselves are crazy hard, or even once I finish a set, even if it's uncomfortable and it's not fun, it's never like I couldn't do more. It's never like I was maxed out on my capabilities or my potential. But the daunting task of starting the next set, the daunting task of beginning a process that is going to take longer and that you know is going to include an extended period of time where you're not feeling comfortable, is one of the biggest challenges to overcome in anything, in starting a business, in when you're pursuing classes in a higher education in school or in university or even in high school, or when you're trying to just work on your strength and improve yourself as a weightlifter or an athlete. There are periods of time, there are seasons, and a good portion of it, a good majorative percentage of the time that you spend working towards those goals needs to be spent in a space that is uncomfortable, one of the biggest questions I always got with the hook grip video and anybody asking, do your thumbs ever stop hurting? My answer to them would always be not really, but a max squat never stops hurting either. Putting up the most weight you're capable of doing and pushing for progression is always going to be uncomfortable. And if you're a power lifter or you're someone who's pursuing strength training specifically, you can kind of relate to the idea that even when things feel good, even when they go well, it's it's relative. It feels easier than your expectations, or it felt better than you thought that it might. Uh, but compared to just sitting on the couch and watching your favorite Netflix show, or watching YouTube videos, or going to a beach in Tahiti and sitting there sipping on a cool drink in the sunshine, those are the kinds of things that are the relaxing feeling without real discomfort. But when you're trying to actively better yourself, or you're trying to find something that you are wanting to grow in as a person, and or as an athlete, or just in general, you have to live in that discomfort zone. And it doesn't do you a whole lot of good, and it's not very helpful to constantly put it off waiting for the right time. And I've said this before, and in my last commentary video, I talked about the idea of putting things off until the next day. Lacking initiative is one of my biggest personal struggles, and it doesn't mean just by recognizing that once that I've learned that lesson, that I don't have further to go and more to learn, and more things to improve on in that. You have to keep reminding yourself of it, and you have to be willing to just dig in and commit to that discomfort. Commit to the feelings that are necessary and associated with putting in the work, even if you don't feel like doing it, to get a little better and to cause an adaptation that's going to benefit you in the long run. It's about making choices that are in line with the person you want to become, instead of just defaulting to whatever the person you are right now feels like doing. So thank you guys so much for watching and joining me in this. I'm going to be having more of these videos now coming out to accompany the live streams. If you're able to make it to some of those, I'd appreciate seeing you. I think it's a fun environment, but I understand it's a very long-form thing if that's the only kind of content going up on the channel, so I don't blame anybody who it's not really their thing. But more of these are coming. More coaching tips videos are coming, maybe some musical stuff in the near future, especially now that my computer does have half of the memory opened again. And we're going to try to keep a little bit better track of that in the future to prevent it from becoming an issue. But wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you all very soon. Thanks again. Bye.